Dan, what would you do if you signed a contract with your record label that said you had to release 14 studio albums, and if you didn't, they were going to throw you in, I don't know, music jail. I don't know how it works in Hollywood.
Oh, music jail? That sounds rough. I mean, I've heard that the Big Bopper and them didn't actually die. They were instead thrown into music jail. And the entire thing is just a conspiracy to make you think that music jail doesn't exist. But we know better. We know that music jail existed. We don't want to go there. And Weird Al Yankovic doesn't want to go there either, which is why he adhered to the letter of that contract.
I mean, my option at that point would just to make the final album a Cyndi Lauper cover band.
This is Weird Al's most recent studio album at time of recording. Mandatory Fun. This is the one I have hanging on my wall.
I mean, it's a good album to have hanging on your wall.
Pretty rockin' poster, but we're not there yet.
Oh, this is the end of an era because this is the last Hastily Made History. That's right. We're talking about Weird Al's Mandatory Fun, released on July 15th, 2014. This is the last one on his record contract, as mentioned. The songs appearing on this album were recorded at several studios: Waystation, Go Davey Go Studio, Bedrock LA, and Mad Rock Studios. Engineered by Brian Warwick, Dave Ray, Rafael Serrano, and Benny Grotto. The songs were recorded in several sessions over the course of 2012 to 2014, with the parodies coming at the end of it. There is technically no Anchor parody on this album. Al is quoted as saying he didn't release a, quote, lead single specifically. He wanted people to pick out their own lead single. But I posit to you this, Al. In the run-up to this album, he had a week where he released 8 music videos for this album, 1 video a day. And what did he lead off with? He led off with Tacky. Come on, Al.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what you do for this album, right?
You know what? I'm okay with the Anchor parody being in, like, track 10. That makes, it's fine.
The critical reception for this album was very positive. People liked it a lot. People liked it so much that this album debuted at #1 on the Billboard charts.
Ow!
Yeah, the first comedy album to do that since 1963. Word Crimes hit 39 on the Billboard Hot 100, making Al the 3rd artist, along with 2 others, to have top 40 hits in the 80s, 90s, aughts, and 10s. And do you guys know who those 2 artists are?
Not a clue.
They're related to Mr. Yankovic.
Neither one of us know anything about music, Dad. You're just going to have to tell us.
It's Michael Jackson and Madonna.
Wait, how does Michael Jackson have a charting song in the 2010s?
Don't ask me. That's just what the facts on the internet say.
Madonna I can buy, because she's still... she actually just put an album this past year, I think.
Yes. This album was nominated for a Best Comedy Album Grammy and won it.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
There were no video disc or multimedia releases for this album, breaking up a string that was started all the way back with Running with Scissors. Sony and RCA gave Al 0 budget to do videos for this album. So it would make sense that he had no budget to do a disc to go along with them.
That's a very interesting fact. I would not have guessed that.
So Al approached various internet content groups and asked them to produce the videos in exchange for letting those producers keep all the ad revenue.
Oh.
I'm sure they were profitable for everybody involved.
And some of those videos are among my favorites.
Some real solid video material that came with this album.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
For returning personnel, we have Weird Al, Jim West, Steve J, and John Bermuda Schwartz as the band. Joel Peskin and Jim Self return for clarinet and tuba on the polka. Suzanne Yankovic is here for screams on the polka. We've also got Monique Donnelly, Lisa Popeil, Scotty Haskell, and the Waters Sisters on backing vocals. Now, we've got some new personnel for this album. At the top of the list, we've got Amanda Palmer on vocals for First World Problems. You may know her as the lead singer and primary creative talent behind the Dresden Dolls. James King is on saxophone for Sports Song. He's with a group called Fits and the Tantrums. Haven't listened to them. I'm sure they're fine. Mike Euler on cornet for Sports Song. His most famous thing he's probably done is playing with Government Mule. Mike Bolger on tuba for Sports Song. He's a session musician and orchestral horn player. He did some music for Red Dead Redemption. And last but not least, Wayne Bergeron on trumpet for Sports Song. He was a trumpeter for Maynard Ferguson. He's a session musician. He's been on several movie soundtracks. Now, guys, you know how in the past couple albums we've had Al talking about parodies that he couldn't get done because for whatever reason, like the rights and stuff didn't work out. Well, for this album, turns out that wasn't a problem. Al had 0 issues getting the rights for the parodies that he wanted to do. The bigger problem was that everybody on the internet was doing stuff faster than he was. So there was supposed to be another parody on this album called Make It So, which would have been a parody of the song that was taking everyone by storm and driving us all crazy during the year of 2013. That's Let It Go from Frozen.
Wow.
And, the idea worked so well that somebody else had thought of it and made it and wrote it and put it on YouTube first. And Al was like, well, I couldn't think of anything better for the lyrics. So he just tipped his cap and say, you know what? Good on you, kid.
Every YouTube creator has had that exact same experience.
Is it really any different than Simpsons did it?
Frozen was so big, even I've done stuff with Let It Go.
So now let's take a look at the art for this album.
Yes, please, because it's fabulous. It is good.
Great.
This is one great piece of graphic design. Oh my goodness.
The art was directed by Megan Foley, returning from Alpocalypse. Robert Trachtenberg did the photography. The illustrations were by Alexander Lansing and Ria Del Rosario. And my note here is Al goes commie ? Like there's just lots of great pastiches of classic Chinese, Russian, and other communist propaganda posters and styles. And I gotta say, they did a really good job.
They got the star in his name. Like, that's perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what they say, Dan. The communists have the music.
I have heard that said. No notes. This is, I love the fascist dictator look on his face, staring out into the distance. He's wearing the military uniform with all the up jump, just iconography. He's got it. I would march in this army. I would march for Weird Al Yankovic.
Not only that, but I mean, like, the actual direction of everything, drawing your sight line to Al. You've got the classic Michael Bay low-angle shot with the planes flying in the background, him looking off in the distance. This is probably the strongest Weird Al album cover art. I'm going to go out on a limb and say.
It is the one that I decided to hang on my wall. And if you look at any of the, like, official state art out of the DPRK, it's like, this is exactly what it looks like.
Yep, I just like how they effortlessly blend all of these different styles throughout the booklet.
I am very happy to be receiving this prop Alganda.
You were cooking that one for a minute, weren't you?
A little bit.
He got to bed around 2:30.
Gentlemen, we have space in our S tier for 3 more songs. Or that fantastic accordion instrumental will get bumped down to the A tier. So hopefully you didn't like this album too much.
It's a little mixed on my part.
For all the rest of you people, you can go up to Al Yankovic's official YouTube channel. You can find the Mandatory Fun playlist, and you can have some mandatory fun along with us.
Yes.
What a fantastic album name.
I'm so handy. You already know I'll fix your plumbing when your toilets overflow. I'm so handy.
Before we get started, I'd like to take a moment to talk about shop safety. Be sure to read, understand, and follow all the safety rules that come with your power tools. Knowing how to use your power tools properly will greatly reduce the risk of personal injury. And remember this, there is no more important safety rule than to wear these safety glasses.
Dan, you're killing me.
Did you get the New Yankee Workshop all the way in?
Absolutely, we got the New Yankee Workshop. That was a PBS staple, my man.
Whenever I listen to this song, I just think of Norm.
See, my touchstone would also have gone for like a red-green, but I'm not going to approach that kind of an accent.
I can't think of anything else that properly describes a man who can fix anything.
You know, well done, hardware store guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
He got that free ball peen hammer and he just went to work. And now he's in the phone book. Like, come a long way.
This has a lot of like Mr. Plow energy to it, especially in the video. Who are you going to call when your refrigerator's ice maker water line bursts and starts flooding your kitchen? How do I know that from experience?
Yeah, as far as the song itself goes, I don't know. Iggy Azalea and Lorde kind of got swallowed under the wake of Ariana Grande in the coming years. I think maybe contemporary Nicki Minaj would have been a more lasting choice to lead the album off, but it's kind of hard to escape Fancy when this was airing, right? 2014.
Right.
I gotta remember 2014.
Here's the thing, though. This is how I knew I was old and over 30, is that a lot of the material on this album is stuff that I had not heard repetitively, because by this time I was not listening to radio.
Right? Yeah.
No, this was playing everywhere on the radio because I was working a job that had the radio playing at the time. Right? I don't pride myself on a lot, which is like, shocker, I know, after almost 4 months of me debasing myself on a Weird Al podcast. But I do pride myself a little bit in being a handyman. We've covered my plumbing-based PTSD, but just about anything else, I'm not too afraid to try and fix, given enough trips to the hardware store and back. And Al absolutely covers all the bases here. Not to mention, like, in the music of the song itself, he manages to nail that distinct flow and delivery of both Iggy and the guest rapper, Charlie XCX, in a song that's kind of all over the place rhythmically, right?
The observation I made was that the song Fancy and then later with Royals, these are songs, they're very minimalist in their music. They're basically just a bass line with some punctuation, which has to be very hard to write a parody for because musically you don't have a lot of space to play around. Between those two songs, I think Royals is fantastic musically. Like, that's all the song needs. Whereas Fancy, you guys are just making noise. You haven't crossed the line from noise into music. So I think you can still do parodies of both of them and have them on the same album. But I think Handy would have worked better if Al had gone like, okay, this is going to be the album's deep cut, and I'm going to do an accordion version of Fancy.
Oh, I'd like to hear that.
Turn it into something else rather than just have this kind of unpronounced bass line. Because, yeah, musically, I think the song sucks as is.
Yeah, it's really sparse production. You don't have a lot going on, which surprisingly, he still manages to nail the sound of the original. But yeah, it's not really a preferred sound of mine, right?
Right.
Lyrically, I think the song is an absolute winner. We've got Al's excellent, I mean, can it be rapping?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine.
Oh,
Sure.
this is rapping because he's doing a lot rhythmically.
Just his rhythmic lyricism is at the forefront of this song. But I agree. I couldn't give this more than a B because for me, it's like, yep, it's listenable. It's not a bad song to lead off the album with.
I have this in a C.
Again, the subject matter hits close to home for me. I honestly put this as an S.
An S.
An S?
Really?
Al's doing a lot here. He takes a pretty middling song that I did not care for and elevates it that far for me. I think that's a mark of genius.
I mean, you know what? It can be an elevated parody because the lyrics to Fancy also suck.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And this he's doing a whole lot with.
Yeah, that's why I bumped it. I would have given it a C as well, but I bumped it up a grade because of the lyrics.
I bumped it up to C because of the lyrics. That's how much I don't like the music.
I swear Jack Nicholson looked right at me at a Lakers game. I got a lame claim to fame.
I have made pizzas for both David Suzuki and Jason Momoa. Can you guess who's a lousy tipper?
David Suzuki.
Yes! Called out, buddy. I even gave you some extra slices of vegan pepperoni.
That's why he didn't tip you.
Fair enough. I don't have any idea who Scots are. Southern culture on the skids. This is apparently a style parody of. I can respect a white trash comedy band for finding their niche.
Yeah.
This is not really a standout Al song. The guitar riff is an earworm, but kind of an annoying one. And I think we finally reached the upper limit for enough cowbell.
I had that same note. I have the same lame claim to fame as every single person who grew up where I did in the 90s, in that I pumped gas behind Hulk Hogan a few times.
So in the year 2003, I was in Baltimore for Otakon. And at Otakon, this is like my first real big trip by myself. So I was like 19 years old, flew by myself to Baltimore. And one day I walked in. For those who are unfamiliar with the Baltimore Convention Center, as you enter the main entrance, there is this giant escalator that takes you up to the 3rd level. I just happen to turn slightly and I see there's this guy who's right next to me. He's got this big bushy beard. He's wearing a big hockey jersey. And I'm looking at him. It's like, he looks really familiar. And I say, has anyone ever told you that you look like Kevin Smith? He looks back at
Oh my
me
God, Dan.
and he just nods quietly. And then we get up off the escalator. And just mere seconds later, I said to myself, that was Kevin Smith. Because it was Kevin Smith.
No, that
Because
story's
he-
disqualified. I'm sorry. Your lame claim to fame can't be I ran into a celebrity at a convention.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to find him.
That's what he did at the time. He just went to the convention just to go to the convention because that's what Kevin Smith did in 2000.
Yeah, you know who hangs around where celebrities are likely to be to hope that they meet them? The TMZ, Dan.
And that was last
I'm just
album.
saying that the lame person in this one is me. It is a lame claim to fame.
That's
because I
Kevin
was
Smith's
being
lame
very
claim to
lame.
fame. I once ran into the guy who's doing the Weird Al podcast.
Just in the school.
Song's fine. I really, really like the rhyming with Ralph Nader, with Elevator, with Christian Slater. That's good stuff for me. I'm a little more familiar with Southern culture on the Skids than Buttface is, but again, it's not my real style. And yeah, the song just does kind of slide away from you. It's perfectly fine, and it does definitely need more cowbell, but I've got this in a B.
It has a good Kevin Bacon joke, and that's about it. B minus.
This is Weird Al's first Southern rock style song. My only experience with Southern culture on the Skids is the song that they had in Beavis and Butthead Do America. It's a bop. I gave it an A because I really enjoyed it. In my opinion, the lamest claim in the song is the secondhand toaster from a guy who says he knows Brad Pitt. I mean, come on.
I never bother with baggies, glass jars, Tupperware containers, plastic cling wrap, really a no-brainer. I just like to keep all my flavors sealed and tight.
Remember when conspiracy theories were fun?
No.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
No.
Remember when the X-Files was fun? Pepperidge Farm also remembers. This is the sleeper parody on the album. You know, I think if Al had let off with this one, I would have said, yeah, would have raised my expectations and they would have been dashed quite expertly. But we've built up into Foil, which plays with Weird Al's wonderful way of lulling you into a song that's you think is about one thing, but really goes off into Crazy Town. And boy, does this song go off into Crazy Town. That's what makes it fun.
Yeah. I mentioned that Royals is just snapping to a bass line. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the music. But it's an example of how minimal can be brilliant. You cannot
Yep.
improve on it.
It's sparse arrangement. It's
Yeah.
great.
There's two things about aluminum foil. Al wrote a verse about each of them and put them to the perfect music.
What more can you ask for?
This song is generously 2 jokes. I think it's exactly 1 joke with a really good bait and switch. You're doing an infomercial bit. And then to go right off into, yes, great, love it. And yeah, I think also using Royals like really spacey vibe, because it's a really sparse production. It gives it a haunting feeling, right?
Well, especially because it's about, the lizard creatures from outer space. I love the line that goes, wear a hat that's foil lined if an alien's inclined to probe your butt or read your mind. It's like probing jokes were old, like 15 years before this song was written. And yet I giggle every time I hear it. There's just so many little things that make you go, okay, yeah, I like it. Whereas Handy is like, okay, it's funny, but it doesn't really have those like little charming bits. And this song has a lot of charming stuff. And that's why I give it an S.
Oh, I gave it an A.
I also only gave it an A because, again, it's a 1 joke song. It can live there with like Miss Frump, but I think that's about where it sits.
I think the A is fair, but it is demonstrably a 2-joke song.
Yeah.
Just looking at the average song length on the album, it skews a lot lower than Al's other albums. We're hitting a lot of like 2-minute songs on here, which is, I like a longer song, guys. I like to stew in the milieu a little bit.
Yeah, Buttface famously loved the Nature Trail to Hell. Perfect.
Oh,
length.
yeah. Oh, great.
He's like, take that off the album so we can listen to Foil 9 times.
Our players are fast and strong and brave, and your guys, not so much.
Al, after all these years of teasing, finally just wrote an up and up marching band song. Good for you, Al.
He said, in doing research for this, that quote, "I've never done a sports song before, so I should do one."
Harvey the Wonder Hamster is pretty sports songy.
That's why I brought that up. I'm like, Al, I mean, you're not forgetting Harvey, are you?
But wait, no, in 13 albums, he never did a song about like professional sports in any capacity? That's a little surprising thinking about it.
It's fine. It really drills the point home, and then it keeps drilling the point home, and that's the joke, folks. The lyrics are just about the escalating ways the singer needs to impress on you the exact message of the song.
Which is what? I might have missed it.
I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. I was listening to the awesome marching band beat. The music is just every marching band sound ever.
Yeah.
So there's really not much to comment on there. And I want to point out that I think the accordion is an underused instrument in marching bands. It's portable. You should be able to accordion. Now, maybe it's not loud enough to drown out that brass, and I understand that, but just have like a dude carrying around an amp and get that sucker mic'd up.
I mean, I'm a marching band refugee. That's what I did. I was in marching band when I was in high school. We played unlicensed covers of various songs. As far as I know, we didn't pay any royalties. So we would just go on the field and play conga. Because you get a marching band to play conga, that is a killer marching band song.
So, Buttface must now elucidate that this is the kind of like gimmick song that you can put on an album that you're designing as an album and not just as a collection of your internet singles. This is the delineation. Like, this is the difference. Al has done little gimmick songs like this. He can broaden his horizons. He can try out weird experiments, and sometimes they work, like Since You've Been Gone. Sometimes they, like Bob. But the important thing is he's got to put them out there. And this is what Dan and I were trying to explain to you last week. Because we're great. And conversely, on the other hand, you get it.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. It's a little subtle, but we got there in the end.
Maybe I suck. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I've never taken a music theory class in my life. I barely know what music is.
It's a little air squiggly.
I did give this song an A, though.
I gave this song a B-.
I gave this a B. It's B for better than Harvey.
Say you got an IT, followed by apostrophe. Yes, now what does that mean? You would not use this in this case as a possessive. It's a contraction.
You know, there's a good reason we don't use the term grammar Nazi anymore.
I use it all the time. I don't know who you're talking about.
If you were going to use it, it's going to be on this album with this cover art.
I've been a grammar Nazi my whole life.
But, I love this song. It's just, this is my number 2 favorite Weird Al song behind Pentiums.
Ooh.
Because this is Al giving a master class on lyricism and rhyming. And also, it takes what is a genuinely terrible, awful song and makes it into something that can actually teach people.
Blurred Lines isn't the worst song Al has ever parodied, only because Confession Part 2 wins that contest by default for the rest of time.
You know, I was going to declare it a tie. Let them fight over the medal and then never talk about them again. We have better songs now. Thanks, Al.
There was at least some justice done for Blurred Lines, because everybody knows about the suit. A court of law had ruled that, yes, this did in fact steal from Marvin Gaye, even though I would say whether you're stealing or homaging a song sometimes in music can be very much a blurred line.
Oh, I get it. I see what you did.
The exact kind of priggish person who would just jump into a conversation and go, aha, I am here to correct you. You get that little bit of character, and it cracks me up every time. I love it.
Yeah, Word Crimes is such a banger of a song. It's such a thorough takedown of those of us, and I'm specifically calling myself out here, with just absolutely horrendous typing habits in such a fun and catchy way. I learned how to word gooder because of this song, not
Nice.
gonna lie.
Yeah, like I said, I've been a grammar Nazi my whole life, and I'm constantly correcting people. I have a favorite punctuation mark. I realize people aren't supposed to have favorite punctuation marks. It is the semicolon. This song is Al making fun of me, and I'm here for it. in the S
I mean,
tier.
you could take the joke because Al is also a person who is very much in that mold.
There's a video of him in a supermarket with a sign that says 10 items or less, and he puts like a piece of tape with the word fewer, and he goes, "There, fixed it."
Al cares a lot about using words properly. Like, clearly, look at all of his songwriting.
With my own eyes, I've seen things that drive a normal man insane. Wish I could disconnect my brain from my own eyes.
Yep, this is a Foo Fighters song.
Sure
It
is.
sounds like every other Foo Fighters song that ever fought the Foos. I don't know what Dave Grohl's opinion about it is. I'm sure he liked it a lot, but I'm not really a Foo Fighters kind of guy.
I am.
I'm not.
So this song just escaped from Bad Hair Day, right? And it just took Al like 20 years to hunt it down and get it onto an album.
I think it's actually really more an escape from Running with Scissors.
Either way. No, I love me some Foo Fighters from back in the day. My only complaint about this song, and it's a tiny complaint, is I wish it were a little more Learn to Fly and a little less The Pretender.
Yeah.
But I guess that like the latter has more fun energy to play with in a parody, but that's just a personal thing. Love the sound, love the song, and this is the only time Weird Al Yankovic featured in Harmonix's Rock Band.
Really?
They were not going to put Hardware Store on there. Foo Fighters is just kind of nothing power rock for me. I don't get there. This song gets in that zone and it executes it competently, as we've come to expect. It just feels like kind of an also-ran to Lame Claim to Fame. Like it's the same kind of subject matter.
None of these things seem all that eye-melting to me.
Yeah. You know what else? This is also covering the same ground for me as Stuck in a Closet.
Really?
You know, it does have a similar vibe. You're right, especially with the guitar. You know,
It's
you're
pure,
not wrong.
unadulterated nonsense. So much so that my eyes just kind of glaze over, and I honestly do stop paying attention to the lyrics. I bet there's a few good jokes in there. I have just yet to consciously pay attention. I am so bored by this song after like the 40-second mark.
There's some real darn good lemonade.
I watched an old man's final breath. Mr. Frump died of Bieber fever.
Oh, so that's what it was.
That's what it was.
I'm gonna stick my neck out here. Here's how I'd fix it.
Oh.
Slowly reveal that the guy needs glasses and that half of the crazy stuff he's seeing, he's just misinterpreting the world around him. There is a joke in that story with a punchline. I don't know how you'd write that.
That's a very high concept joke.
I'm not the preeminent comedy genius of the last 30 years. That's Al's job.
I love it though. I love the idea, and I think you pay
Yeah.
the Jib Jab people to put that in the video.
This is not that.
I have this in S tier. S for Foo Fighters.
D tier.
I gave it a B. The lyrical content does not elevate to the S level, unfortunately.
All the other kids with a pumped up picture better run, outrun my gun. All the other kids with a pumped up picture.
Top 40 polka, take 8 or 9, whatever, nothing special. I think it's a little better than the previous two, I guess, because just the pool of music in the 2010s was better to pull from, maybe. Higher quality songs kind of across the board to put in. It's fun. It's a polka. I give all the polkas an A tier. I don't know if the Daft Punk tail at the end is too stupid and repetitive to end a polka on, or if it's like double secret genius because the original song Get Lucky is also really stupid and repetitive. Either way, this is the third polka running where I have a favorite song that I was introduced to thanks to the polka. I had never heard Macklemore's Thrift Shop, and that's a fantastic song. Really, really fun. And Al does it justice here. So yeah, A tier and polka.
Of all the polkas, this was the one that I felt was phoned in right from the minute I first heard it. Maybe I was just more tuned into what was getting radio play at the time. Maybe that takes the magic out of polkas. Who's to say? The whole thing just stays at the same level of dance pop hits energy. Even the slow down oompa to Sexy and I Know It is more energetic than Al's usual like lounge singer breakdown. That said, again, as Brick pointed out, this is another great mixtape playlist contained into a polka format.
Al tried making a full parody of Get Lucky, but he bailed on it because of, quote, the repetitive lyrics.
Yep.
I think it's appropriate to cap off the polka because you're right. The ending is kind of stupid, but I think it's charming because it's stupid. I do think my favorite bit in the polka is the Jerry Lewis Freund Leben, sexy lady. Although my pick for wanting to hear the full thing would be I'm sexy and I know it, because come on.
No, I'm going to go with Carly Rae Jepsen. I'm going to go with Call Me Maybe. Because
that's a good call.
That song, it has such like, I think we're alone now energy.
Honestly, I would have went with Timber. I think you could do a little bit more there.
Okay.
Honestly, to editorialize, I wish he'd done more with Daft Punk over the years. I feel like there's some ripe ground there. And moving forward, it's been a while. I'd like to see Weird Al's take on what has become the dominant form of pop songwriting as K-pop.
Are we just AAA on this?
Yeah, it's A's across the board.
A strong commitment to quality, effectively enhancing corporate synergy.
How high an S? That's all I need to know. Next to Hardware Store, this is my favorite song. On some days, when the mood is right, and my office job has worn me down, and I am feeling particularly jaded by the world of business, this song might even take that #1 slot. You throw on a 12-string guitar with a 4-part vocal harmony and some bongos, and you bet your ass I'm gonna be grooving out, man. I said how word crimes taught me how to do words gooder, and mission statement, how to do corpo talk like a pro. I have legitimately quoted this song to my superiors in pointless meetings and then got responses like, oh, wow, good feedback. We'll look into implementing that.
They were just lying to you. They were never going to
you
implement
have to
it.
say something to justify the meeting, right?
The meeting that could have been an email. Like, the story behind the song is that Al wanted to do a Crosby, Stills, and Nash thing for a long time. Just after he got done recording it, he got a phone call from Graham Nash asking if he would do a parody of Sweet Judy Blue Eyes. And Al was like, Graham, listen to this. He literally just played the song for him on the phone right there. And Graham went, okay, yeah, all good. I mean, you could not get a more cosmic synergy than that.
I see what you did there.
I can't in good conscience call this a style parody when it's really a medley of two extremely good Crosby, Stills, and Nash songs.
I count 3 songs in here just personally, but sure, go ahead.
I'll let you go with the third because it's kind of ambiguous there in the middle.
Well, how high in S are you placing this, Dan?
If Word Crimes is a quadruple S, this is a triple S.
But this is an original. I rate them higher. I put a little emoji of the line go up.
I mean, the line does go up, but
B-.
Wow.
I got the joke immediately, and then it's just that joke for 4.5 minutes. It's a pleasant joke. Like, I get a little bored listening to the song, and it's not like a frustrated boredom. It's like a relaxed kind of, just like a lazy Sunday kind of boredom. But this, for me, is the like experiments gimmick song that you couldn't put on the previous album that didn't knock it out of the park.
I posit to you that this is merely just Craigslist again.
Yeah, this is Craigslist again, and I don't care. I love Craigslist. I love this. The amount of corpo speak that he puts in this song. Oh, it's so good.
The video for this was done by a company called TrueScribe, the quote, premier whiteboard video studio. Don't believe me? Look at their website. It still exists. And it was released on the Wall Street Journal.
Yep, this is the song that just doesn't do anything for me.
Wow. It's the end of an era, guys. I've said that Al is a style comedian and there isn't anything that he can't do. Well, 4 songs from the finish line, Al blunders the assignment. Who would have thought Wubstep would be his Achilles heel? Wow, the production on this sounds like crap. It is muddy and the drop barely hits and it doesn't have that energy that's present in the original, and I don't get it. I don't know how this could have happened. I don't know what secret sauce is missing, but it just sounds bad to my ears. And pair that with retreads of Trash Day and Fat, but kind of overlapping and not really hitting like those songs did. The milieu of mids ends up making this song less than the sum of its already wanting parts. D-.
Wow.
You know what? You covered a lot of my notes because the song Radioactive, it was in every movie trailer. Ever. You hear that song once, and then for the rest of your life, if anybody takes 2 bars at random from anywhere in the song, you immediately know you're listening to Radioactive. The song only works if every single element of the song is in place, and that was never going to happen for Al. His voice isn't right for that chorus. He can't get there. So unless he wants to hire the singer from Imagine Dragons, whose name is Leroy McDragon. Yeah, you covered all my notes, Buttface. You got it.
Like, I went into this knowing Buttface would rag on it for not being, but would you believe, Buttface, that Imagine Dragons gave Al tips on how to recreate the sound for this song?
You should have just asked them for the masters, man.
Ooh.
My only real note I wrote about this song was, if Grapefruit Diet is the sequel to Fat, then this is the prequel to Fat.
Alternately, Grapefruit Diet guy, he was doing fine until COVID lockdown and then slid back. It's sad to see.
Okay, so this could work either way. It could be the prequel to Fat or the sequel to Grapefruit Diet.
I don't hate the song, though. I will say that. It's a song that I can appreciate Al having gotten into the zip code, but I always want to listen to Radioactive because you want that pop. You want that burst. Like, you're aching for it if you listen to this version of the song.
Yeah, we've brought it up before that when you listen to a Weird Al song, you don't want to think, oh, I'd rather be listening to the original song.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I wouldn't rather be listening to Radioactive anyway. I mean, I'm kind of indifferent on Imagine Dragons, but I mean, I gave this a C.
I have this in a very low B. So B plus C plus D is a C.
Don't they know how to text? OMG, I got first world problems. First world problems.
I'm going to go ahead and get my positive notes for this song out of the way first. Music's good. I like the music. It's fine. And I really like how Al delivers the character in this song. Just the whine, like aces. Well done. I categorically reject the concept of first world problems. This song, the lyrics for me, is like if a horoscope for today had been about how cool and accurate horoscopes are. That's how much I absolutely despise this song. The concept of first world problems is used almost exclusively for person A to dismiss person B's problems, which is not a call that person A gets to make. And there's nothing in this song that uses the concept comedically. It's funny to laugh at people who have first world problems. If we're doing song doctors, there are ways to make this song funny. One, if the problems the character has in the song are just patently absurd, the kind of things that like nobody would ever have to deal with, that would be funny. It would also turn the song into one of those days. Or you make the character in the song just completely reprehensible. Like they react so badly to their first world problems that it becomes funny, like the over-the-top reaction. But then the song is just, why does this always happen to me? So Al's covered this ground in 2 very funny ways, and now he's just, I guess we're done being funny, and now we're just gonna laugh at people who whine too much. D-.
Hey, Brick, you covered all my notes, just about. Here's where my lack of familiarity with the Pixies, outside of that one song from Fight Club, pays off, and that I can't nitpick if this nails the sound or not.
It's pretty close. It's pretty good.
Don't know. The most relatable lyric here is already kind of anachronistic. I hate watching someone faff about with some stupid train driving puzzle, and then I try to skip ahead in the video, only to realize I'm watching some dork's live stream. The singing is grating, the song is obnoxious, I kinda hate this guy, 10 out of 10, you nailed the assignment, sorry I want to skip this song every time.
Yeah, this is a song that you really want to hate, especially because we're judging it on the merits of the song by itself. Like just listening to the song, it's like, yeah, I don't like this guy. I don't like this song. This is a rare misstep for Al, and it's this kind of boomer humory type of thing that I never found funny in the first place. The context changes, of course, when you watch the video, where it is absolutely the biggest jerk in the history of jerk bending in that video, directed by Liam Lynch. Craigslist guy returns. Just, it's very clear that this is some self-absorbed jerk bender. But here's the thing. We've been making fun of those guys. That joke is old. It's been done. And I don't think Al adds anything new or interesting to it.
As I was listening to this song, that last 5 seconds there with the panting and the tail running off sounds like the Forbidden Zone by Oingo Boingo.
It kind of does. But I mean, that's also the funniest part of the song.
It is. It's the best part of the song.
What are our letters for this song?
I gave it like a C.
Yeah, I also gave it a C.
I went through the lyrics with a fine-tooth comb, and every single thing Al says in the song, I'm like, it would be trivial to imagine a situation where, like, that's a catastrophic problem. Anyway, this song is my first world problem, if we have to be technical about it. I'm delighted that you both hate it. I'm so happy. Can we move on to a song that is also very delightful now?
Yeah.
I'd like to take 2 seconds real quick and just advocate for Pharrell Williams' Happy. Great song. Sometimes in your life, you just want a catchy, uncomplicated song about being happy. I listened to a lot of Weird Al this past few months. I've listened to every album multiple times. We're on album number 14. Going into this project, when we first started it back in 1993, before Buttface was born, I had an inkling that Tacky was my favorite Weird Al song. And now that we're here at the end of album 14, having listened to all of the previous albums, I can say for certainty it is my favorite, and I don't think it's close.
Huh.
We don't have Spotify statistics for, I've been listening to Al since the early 90s, but I would not be surprised to learn that my play count for Tacky is number 1 across his whole discography. This song is everything I want, not just from a Weird Al song, but just from music in general. The live performance is unreal for the Mandatory Fun tour. They got the big Jumbotron, you know, the Frank's TV back there, and it starts playing the video for Tacky. My first thought was, are they really just going to play the video for Tacky? Because that is super tacky. No, he's out in the parking lot. And he sings the first verse, and just as he hits that first chorus, comes in to the stage. So yeah, he dances through the whole parking lot, across the crosswalk, and in between cars. Like, you can pick up your car in the Weird Al video. Also my favorite Weird Al video. I'm a sucker for just the long takes with no cuts. Yeah, the video is perfect. It's just Al and a bunch of his comedian friends jamming out to Tacky. But the reason this song works so well comedically for me is because it's the kind of song that's about somebody else, right? It's about a character that you're supposed to laugh at. I know this guy. I know this guy. I'm going to laugh at him because he's... And then you get to the lyric where like, oh, I've done the Yelp thing, haven't I?
Yeah.
We have met Tacky and he is us. As quadruple plus.
Guess what? Then you're Tacky too.
As someone who has embraced having no sense of style as a fashion statement, you bet I love this song as an anthem for the way of life that is tacky.
What's the tackiest thing in the song? I wrote probably live tweeting the funeral.
Asking a woman if she's pregnant or really fat.
Yeah, that's number 1.
Yeah, there's different levels of tacky in this, right? There's the sort of everyday sort of faux pas that goes on in the song, and then there's genuine assholery that's happening, like the asking the woman if she's pregnant or really fat. Yeah, that's not tacky. That's
tactless.
Yes, that is tactless. It is without tact.
We discovered off air that I had taken Patton Oswalt from Foil in my mind and placed him into Tacky where Jack Black was, and like, shame on me. That might be the most tacky thing I've done recently. Oh man, and
elevated parody.
As Brick, no, absolutely not. As Brick was saying, Word Crimes can completely replace the original song and make the world a better place. Whereas Tacky lives right alongside Happy, sharing in the vibes and still making the world a better place. This song is a joy.
Interesting. Like, for me, it's like I could not escape Pharrell Williams for a long time. Happy's a good song. I have a feeling that if I was working at the supermarket while this was on the music system, I would have gone insane. Just like Sixpence None the Richer almost drove me insane in the summer of 1999.
Shnam shnam shabim bam bam num.
It's just that I love the conceit of this song a little more, just calling out people for bad behavior. It's fun.
Yeah, S tier song.
Yeah, I also have it in S.
Are we putting this? I'll put it above Word Crimes all day.
I like Word Crimes more.
I like Word Crimes better.
All right.
I did look it up. Somebody in Massachusetts does have the license plates YOLO. It's on a 2013 Corvette.
Oh my
I'll just say, yeah, that's appropriate.
All right, so we're done here, right? We can just.
Yep, that's it. That was a podcast.
Thanks for listening to all the podcasts, guys.
Oh, what's that sound I hear? I'm hearing a horn. So the air cylinder is recharging. It
No.
sounds like a bus coming our way.
It's the Price is Right buzzer. That boom, 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 boom.
Aww.
Maybe someday we can own and operate our own mobile pet grooming service.
I'm not going to rant and rave. I'm not going to pound my desk. Just going to say I appreciate the song has one funny line about boobs, and I am therefore awarding it the highest possible grade a Shaggy Dog song can aspire to, the much vaunted F+.
I mean, I didn't write very many notes for this. So far, everything I've read about the song is that it's supposed to be a style parody of Cat Stevens, or perhaps better known nowadays as Yusuf Islam. I gotta say, I know the hits. I've heard plenty of Mr. Islam's music, but I'm not really getting the vibe here. Yeah, there's some nice guitar. You can hear the funky clavinet, but I would have given it some kind of points. But this isn't like Genius in France, where it's a high concept loving tribute to something. Like, you can only pull off a gag like Albuquerque once. And even then, I didn't like the gag very much. It just wears out its welcome. This song, I just never vibed to begin with. It's a well-produced song that is bad. I get the conceit of this whole imagined conversation. I mean, who among us has not had an imagined conversation in our heads? But usually it's between ourselves and not with another person. So I'm giving this the D for it's not unlistenable. I just don't care to listen to it.
And now for the shortest notes I have ever written. Musically, diverse. Lyrically, focused. Situation, relatable. Length, 1.3 commutes by bus. Hook, nature trail to hell. Score, B.
I'm sorry, did you
Wow.
say B?
Did you give it a B for bus?
I gave it a B.
Oh,
I can elaborate and we can crush all of the short note taking I took, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. I think that speaks for
I gave it
itself.
like a high F too. Whatever, I'm putting it in the D tier.
The best line of the song is, "You are my answer to everything," which is why I'll probably do very poorly on the written part of my driver's test. Great lyric.
Like, there might be a C tier song in here if you just pared the concept down to like a 3.5 minute track, but even then.
This is more focused than what you have in Albuquerque. It's like telling a full story. It's a relatable story that you can have where, you are imagining the life of someone else that you're seeing on public transit. And you're like, I wonder what they're off to do. I take public transit a lot.
The only question is the Jackson Park Express the bus from Another One Rides the Bus?
Yes, duh, clearly.
God damn it, now we're all in a bad mood because we had to listen to Jackson Park Express.
Well, we need to do our album thoughts. What do you think of this very mixed album, guys?
S tier album, easily. I love it.
What?
Love it.
What?
Love it.
We've only got 2 S's on it. We had a way stronger album last time.
Dan, am I stuttering? Because he just asked me, 3 times in a row? Like, is he listening?
I mean, if this really is Al's final studio album, and, I've come to accept over these past several years that the answer to that question is an ever increasingly likely yes. He may surprise me, but I've come to the stage in my grief that I've accepted that this could be the final album. And you know what? If it is, it's a hell of a way to cap him off because we have some top tier material. There's only one, excluding the overly long divisive song, there's only one real stinker on this album, and that's First World Problems. One thing I was thinking to myself, when Al released this album, he said, well, this might be my last studio album because now that I'm not under contract anymore, I can release stuff whenever I want. I can do EPs, I can do singles. And here's the thing, it's like, Al, you were doing that after Straight Outta Linwood. The only new material we've gotten, if you can call it new material after this, is the Hamilton Polka. Which is fine.
We had a movie.
Yeah.
We had the Weird movie. He's done other collaborations with other artists and things.
We've been pulling some potpourri. We will be pulling some more potpourri in a minute.
Weird Al has become more and more of his pop culture self, I think, than his musician self, which, I mean, I'm not going to begrudge a man his quote unquote retirement. He's not even retired. He's out there touring all the time. And if that's what he wants to do, then I say, Al, you've earned it. We've gone out on a high note.
And for our listeners, we have one more episode. We're going to cover the Weird soundtrack next week. So, like, don't watch this and, oh, they did Jackson Park, I guess I'm out. Like, we're coming back next week for more of this.
Yeah.
I'm saying, if you want to release something, Al, April 1st, that's the day you want to release stuff. It's the perfect time. Instead of ending on Jackson Park Express, let us end on an actual high note with tonight's potpourri.
Hey, we're really not so bad. My point is, please don't nuke us, North Korea. Right now we're all a little tense. Believe me, we don't hate you.
Al's first and only original polka song. Not a medley, not a cover, not a reimagining, the one and only.
So for purposes of this, we're not counting stuff like Checks in the Mail or Such a Groovy Guy as polkas.
We are not counting those as polkas.
Okay.
They're a different tone, right? There's some oompa in here that is absent from those.
Okay.
This is the counterpoint to Canadian Idiot. This is making fun of the great US of A, and also kind of poking fun at North Korea. Not as much as you'd think for the bulk of the song. No, I love this. This is a great song that I had not heard until you brought it up as a candidate for potpourri. I don't watch a lot of like late night talk show stuff,
So we should point out then, because this isn't, he didn't record this for an album. This was from, I want to say 2017, 2018. I didn't look up the year.
2017.
Al went and did this performance on John Oliver's show last week tonight. John Oliver did a brief presentation on the DPRK doing missile tests. And you can kind of tell that there's a short turnaround time between like when Al was invited on the show and when the performance happened, because you can see some of the lyricism, like the line, "Our beds will soon be wetting." That's the kind of lyricism that Al can usually get away from. That said, this is Al trying to head off Christmas at Ground Zero. Good on him. And you know what? He's right. I do like Tom Hanks. A tier.
Yep, this is an A tier polka for me.
You're giving an A for Anks. I don't really have a lot of thoughts on this. It's nice. It's a funny bit. It's a polka. It automatically gets an A, right?
Sure.
Yeah, this is the one and only just straight polka Al has done. I think that elevates it a little bit. It's special. It's neat.
One thing I do appreciate about this song is that the messaging has a little bit of subtlety to it, because it would have been really easy to write a polka just making fun of North Korea. It would have also just really been easy to write a song about like the typical American's ignorance about North Korea. And I did have a lot of fidget spinners around the time the song came out.
I think I have one on my desk still somewhere.
There's nothing wrong with a fidget spinner. The only reason fidget spinners went away is because somebody invented those little rubber popping bubble things that are like infinite bubble wrap.
I thought that Brick's cube collection has replaced his fidget spinner collection.
I own 2 fidget spinners that are also cubes.
Oh my goodness.
First world problems.
So wait a minute. I sang Dan's favorite song, and then I sang Buttface's favorite song. Whoops.
We're not going to get more S's on this list.